Forgive me if you hear a bunch of feedback or something going on in the background here. I've got us up as a test over here, and it won't let me mute it until mute. There we go. So give that a minute. Let everything roll. Let everybody get in here. All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to BassGeek. Y'all will notice that I'm not at Kirkland's tonight. Unfortunately, listen, we tried it out, and I was going to try and finish the month out, but, we just wasn't drawing the crowd that I hoped, and I just didn't want to tie up their banquet room, when they could hand out others. So I will say this, we're going to start doing it from BassGeek headquarters. Again, shout out to my guy for making, that for me. And, naming the room. But so we'll be doing it from BassGeek headquarters, and we will be doing it every other Monday night now. So I know we're on a Tuesday, but, I was going to do it, and I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to tie up Kirkland's banquet room anymore. We just couldn't draw the audience to be able to do it. And it was fun. They were great. And I love beer. So
I don't know.
But, yeah. So I want to give a few shout outs here. Some peeps that I've seen in the room already. Lowbrow, man, I appreciate you. I don't know if you've seen Lowbrow. Lowbrow was one of the guys, we got the hashtag. I don't know if you can see that. 100% watch squad there, which a lot of you guys, my subscribers came up with that. I appreciate that. What's going on, Vaughn? Bassing with Big Malone. Scott, what's going on? Dave Washburn, what is up? Mike, what is going on? A lot of you guys in here tonight, man. Smoky Mountain Fishing, what's going on? Joseph Keller, what is up? G-Rock. We're going to get into a little bit of cranking. You got this shirt. All right, man. Hey, and listen, guys, this shirt is a limited run, so it's over December 31st, right? There's 31 days in December, right? So December 31st, it's done. It's gone. And hey, if you guys haven't seen it, go to the community tab. I did some really god-awful mock-ups of the hats. So pay no attention to the BG. We just put that on there to kind of see how it would kind of look if, like, a drunk seamstress sewed the hat on. But go to the community tab and check it out and vote on what color hat you want. I personally, I don't mean to sway, but you see the navy. Now I didn't do a white, but I did a navy and a charcoal. I'm just saying that's what I like. But you guys, it's your money, so you vote for what you're gonna buy. Don't stick me with a bunch of daggone hats, y'all. I can only wear one.
There you go.
Right? But yeah, what's up, guys? One on angling. Wesley, Army Outdoors, man, what's going on? Jason Emery, Donnie, what's up, Donnie? Hey, man, sorry, sir. Donnie come out. He runs a killer Facebook page. Donnie, make sure you put that Facebook page down there. Let's see, and I think DFW, Darren. Little Rich, what's going on? J Bros in the house. I know somebody knows a little something about J Bros.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit. Cajun Rob in the house and Top Raider. Hey guys, get your questions ready tonight. We're going to really do a lot of Q&A. But first off, I want to introduce a guy who, again, my buddy from Die Hard kind of let me know about. Die Hard Angling. You guys go check him out. But this is Adam Savage. No, not the guy from,
Mythbusters.
Yeah, Mythbusters.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
So So if you're disappointed about that, I apologize. But he is a professional angler, so better to answer your questions, than me. He fishes the NPFL. You have both years, correct? That's right, both
No, just
years.
this is my first year with
Just
us.
you're a rookie.
First,
Oh,
yeah,
all
my
right.
rookie year.
We're gonna put his feet to the fire tonight,
There you go.
guys.
Let's do it.
Come at him with the hard
Yeah.
questions. So, man, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself.
Okay.
Tell us, where you're from and who you are, and tell people, how they can find you guys. He's got a YouTube channel. He's dipping his toes into the YouTubeage,
Yeah.
along with some TikTokage.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm gonna let him go ahead and introduce himself.
Okay. Well, my name's Adam Savage. I live here in a small town called Hodgenville, which is in Kentucky. Come from a military background family, so I did a lot of traveling and stuff when I was growing up. So I got to fish a lot of different lakes. Like a lot of guys growing up, got to fish with their dad and stuff. So that's how I got introduced to the fishing side of stuff, which was kind of neat because we got to go somewhere new like every 4 years. Some places I like, some places I hated. I couldn't wait to leave, but and then we finally got to get back here, kind of back to our roots here in Kentucky. So that's where I reside right now, and this is my first year fishing as a professional, I guess. And it's been an up and downhill. I mean, it's been a lot of learning, a lot of getting your teeth kicked in, and then trying to overcome and adapt and stuff. So, but I've enjoyed it, and hopefully I can continue to do it.
So, man, tell us where you started. What gave you the tournament bug?
Oh, well, like most, if you read a lot of backstories, a lot of other professional anglers, a lot of them, grew up in a competitive sport, either baseball, football, or something like that. And for me, it was baseball. I played baseball growing up, and was real competitive in that, and enjoyed it. And whenever it had summer break consisted of going to like Troy State University for baseball camp. So I was really, really into the baseball side of stuff, and for a long time, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. And but my dad always made sure we always went fishing. So we would rent boats from NWRs. We did a lot of whatever would bite kind of fishing. We'd bass fish, fish, crappie fish. So I remember being with him one time on a lake in Texas when we were there at Fort Sam, and I don't remember the name of the lake, but I remember that was the first time I actually was on the lake with all these boats racing down the water and coming in and all this stuff. And I remember asking him, I got to talk to a couple of those guys, and I thought it was really neat that somebody actually got paid to fish. But even at that point, I didn't think, oh, this is what I want to do. I don't have that long history of saying I've always wanted to be a professional angler. I think, as growing up, we all want to do a lot of different things. We want to be police officers, firefighters, all kind of stuff. But it really started kind of getting in for me, I guess, when I got into high school. Like I said, we moved back to Kentucky. My dad was able to purchase a boat that we could have all the time, and we would fish Friday nighters, Tuesday nighters. It was kind of like the local club stuff, $25, 15, 20 boats, and you go fish for 5 or 6 hours for one fish or 5 fish. And the competitive side of being playing baseball and the competitive side of going out there and like wanting to win these local tournaments, I practiced for them like they're Bassmaster Classics, breaking the lake down and prepping all week, getting the boat ready to get on the water. And so that's where the love of that side of it kind of started for me. And then, of course, through high school, I graduated. We didn't have high school fishing when I was in school. It actually came the year I graduated. Somebody started a club and started doing that, but kind of got out of it for a while. Always fish, kind of hot fences and go pond fish and stuff like that. Go to the lake anytime I could. And then, kind of did the grown-up stuff for a while, and then had a chance to kind of get back into competitive fishing a little bit more seriously. And I got into it on the USA Bassin kind of side of stuff. So I traveled around here locally, fished as many of those as I could, did really well. Me and my buddy, Brendan Cruz, we were partners. And then, of course, my cousin Nico, he kind of helped me fish in a couple of them. And any chance I could fish anything that I felt like was going to, give me a competitive edge or try to learn something different as a new body of water or whatever. I just kept doing that. And then kind of preparing myself. I knew I wanted to make a jump into some kind of professional event. I just didn't know what it was going to be. And then in 2021, the NPFL came, and I had read all the stuff that they're proposing to the anglers to sign up. And at that time, I thought, man, this is just way more than I want to bite. And I'm going to sit back and kind of watch and see how it goes. I was kind of scared, to be honest with you. And I got really into what they were doing, and was reaching out and talking to Brad and all those guys. And I got to go to one of the events through a fellow friend that competed with them that first year. And I went down to a Wright Patman and actually shook hands with Brad and told Brad at that point that, hey, just want to introduce myself and let you know who I am, because I'm going to turn my application in and compete with you guys next year. So really, honestly,
Wow.
I didn't expect to get a phone call. After the first year, I thought, man, there's no way, I don't have a huge long background in competitive fishing. I didn't come from the college side of stuff, or, fishing a bunch of BFLs and Toyotas and all that stuff, what you usually see. But they gave me a chance, and I've enjoyed it. I mean, I cashed one check this year. I missed some checks by, my own stupidity, but it's been a learning curve, and it's something I'm really passionate about and I want to continue to do. And then, unfortunately, it's one of those things. If you got the money, you can play. It's a pay-to-play thing. So, but I'm trying to meet companies and show my worth to those companies to say, hey, I'm willing to work and put some skin in the game to work with you guys. But that's kind of been a little bit of a challenge in itself. But it's all part of that learning curve. So, but yeah, that's how I got to where I was at this year with them.
It is, and guys, one of the best ways you guys can help Adam out is make sure you go check out his YouTube channel. And speaking of which, let's see here. I seen it down here just a minute ago. Right here. I'll have to say, I don't remember if it was just an Instagram post or if it was a thumbnail.
Yeah,
that had to be the daggone funniest thumbnail I've ever seen in my life. And guys, I'm not even going to tell you what it is, because I'm going to make you go over afterwards and look at this. But I'm going to ask you a question about that. Had you fished any sort of big water like that? Like big? What lake was that on again? I can't remember.
The first one we went to was Saginaw Bay.
Yeah.
So that one. That's the first time I've ever been on any kind of Great Lake. A Great Lake for me here would be Kentucky Lake. I mean, that would be considered a Great Lake, because it's a big body of water, but it's like a mud puddle. You're talking the bay itself is bigger than the whole Kentucky Lake. It's humongous.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy.
I had a really good practice. I was practicing around a lot of the guys that cash checks, and I know I could have got a check in that event, but it was one of those things that, I let fear kind of take control of what I did, and I fished scared. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to make excuses. I stayed in the river. I caught fish, but I didn't get around the fish I needed to get around, and I really didn't build up a lot of confidence on that big water until I went to Erie. And I told myself then, I said, I don't care what you do. If you don't catch any fish, you're going to make yourself go out in this water, and you're going to learn to run this, because you can't compete like this. You can't. If you're going to be this way, that old saying, like, if you're scared, stay on the porch. And I was like, we got it. So, and I built up a huge amount of confidence with the pre-practice and then going into the event for 6 days to where I left. And if I wish we could have went back to Sandusky, because I know I could have got a check, but it was different, man. People here say, oh, the lake's bad. You got 3 and 4 footers. No,
that ain't nothing.
They're over the boat.
Yeah, I've had one of my buddies, the ledgehead guy, Tim. I talk about him all the time. He says, man, I've been up there fishing opens, and he said you are literally running in the trough between 2 6-foot, swells, and I'm like, man, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if I can do it, man.
That's why they call it Erie, I think. I mean, I call it the Pacific Erie, because I mean, it's like an ocean. You get out there and you're sitting on one rock trying to catch a smallmouth, and if it ain't the waves with the wind, it's the yachts. They mean, the jet ferries. I mean, they'll run you over. They don't care. They blow right past you. But it's definitely, you got to be mindful and have a lot of respect for that kind of water, because things can happen quick out there. And I think that's what my problem was. I let that get in my head at Saginaw, and I kind of kicked myself on that 7.5-hour drive home. My mom travels with me. She's retired military and stuff, and kind of got to that's been a whole nother subject, being able to spend time with her and go through this whole year and experience that with her. Because growing up, she had to travel a lot. She was stationed different places, and so we're kind of getting to rekindle missed time from when I was a kid. So it's been kind of cool to have her in my corner, because there's times she's got to talk me off the fence, because I'm like, I hold myself to a certain standard. I'm competitive. I mean, it's you spend a lot of money, and you don't like losing. But I tell everybody, I never got an ass whoop I didn't learn something from. So
And that's what it's about. You know, that's what fishing in general is about, is to get out
Mhm.
there and learn something every time you go out. You know, and I
Absolutely.
tell people all the time, I learn way more from days that I was completely zero
Mhm.
than days that I go out and just can throw any bait in the water and there seem to be biting.
Yeah.
So you're doing it at a whole different level, no doubt. You
Mhm.
know, so so your first season,
Mhm.
you know, is this the first season? You know, is this the first season that you've ever fished, or a trail that is predominantly multi-day tournaments?
Yes, this is my first time ever fishing anything where it was multiple days, and, with the league, you fish all 3 days, there's no cuts.
Yeah.
And these guys, I mean, there's some guys that, you don't know, you don't hear about, but there are some straight hammers. I mean, and you can't miss. You gotta come in there with your A game. You gotta catch them every single day. And that happened to me a couple times this year. I missed, like, at Watts Bar, I had my best finish.
Mhm.
Uh, I think I tied top 10 with, man, I hate that I'm gonna mess his name up. He's a Tennessee guy.
That's all right. I'm a
Um,
hillbilly, so I mess
if I remember it,
everybody's
I'll
name up.
definitely announce it, but yeah, so and if you look at the weights in that event, I mean, it was so tight. I mean, ounces could
Mhm.
have been 3 or 4 spots. So
Yeah.
you gotta come in there. You can't have off days. You gotta take full advantage of practice. Because even when you think you're on something, that's what I've learned this year. Even when you think you're on something, you always got to prepare for the worst. Because
Mm.
if you have good weather where you live, or you're not getting any rain, just host a bass tournament, and it'll be the crappiest weather, the most
Yeah.
wind your town's ever seen.
Yeah.
There'll be lightning storms, hailstorms, all that stuff. So you just gotta it's a mental game. It's all between the ears, and I can tell, getting on the lakes here at home now, after being on the road and traveling to all these different bodies of water, that I've learned so much, in these 6 or 7 months, that
Yeah.
it's changed me. It's adapted me as an angler here locally. So I can see a change in myself, and that's why like I said, I kind of gave myself a couple year game plan to do this, and I'm hoping I
Yeah.
can continue to do it. But it's very expensive. I mean, when you factor your cost on the road and fuel and housing, even if you try to do it the minimal way,
Yeah.
it's really expensive, and it can add up quick.
Yeah, it's all the things that are not seen
Hmm.
that really are the
Yeah.
cost. You know, it's not just the entry fees.
Hmm.
It's the travel, the fuel in the boat every day, you know, the oil
Hmm.
for the boat every day, you know. It's there's so much, you know, you know, like let's talk about the travel a little
Hmm.
bit. So you had your mom traveling with you.
Hmm.
So what kind of, you know, did you guys, you know, split hotels? Did you stay at houses? Did you travel with a bunch of guys?
Well,
What'd you kind of do?
we chose to, at first we were looking at hotels and stuff. We were trying to,
Hmm.
but we realized pretty quick that Airbnbs are just as about the same price as some of these hotels.
Yeah.
And with having a boat, you always worry, like at a hotel, it's not uncommon for somebody to drive through a hotel parking lot at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, cut your tarp, whatever, and take all your
L-
stuff.
Lift a few things. Five
Yeah.
finger discount. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we stayed at Airbnbs, and what I try to do is I try to pre-fish every event if I could. And, I think we were able to do that pretty much all of them, except for I didn't go to Florida before, the Florida event. But we would rent the houses that we were gonna stay at, so that way we can kinda check them out, which was
Yeah.
good because at Watts Bar, that kinda wasn't a bad place, but it was not what I thought it was gonna be, which could have been really bad. So it kinda helped set us up for that. But, yeah, we stayed at Airbnbs. They were nice. Everyone that we stayed at, even the one at Watts Bar that we stayed the first time, very nice place as a cabin, but just the accommodations weren't what we needed for what we were doing there. So,
Yeah.
but everywhere else we stayed was awesome, and it was a lot more comforting knowing that you were kinda in a residential area, and, you could kinda, I guess, do some research on these areas before you went there, see your route for the lake. Because I'm one of those guys that even if I'm in 125th place, every day I'm gonna try to be like the first boat on the water, because
Yeah.
that's just how it was. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're 15 minutes late,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it makes me uncomfortable. So I try to get somewhere I'm close. That way, if I have a blowout, or this year's been a hub, I'm a hub expert. Like, if you have a hub go out, I got all the tools, and I can build you a hub in like 30 seconds. Have it on the
Yeah.
boat and back on the road. So it just stuff like that. But yeah, we stayed at Airbnbs, and it was awesome.
And you know, that's even you know a great example of the things that those hidden costs
Hmm.
is those hubs, because you're putting a lot of miles on that tow vehicle and you're putting a
Yeah.
lot of miles on that trailer.
Yep.
So you kind of learn, what's some of the travel tips actually you can give some guys that are maybe thinking about fishing opens or any sort of travel series like that. Something, give me your two, if looking back now, you'd say, man, I wish I would have brought that with me. Just travel wise.
I mean, I don't feel like I was ever in a position with any issues I came with that I didn't have something for. I'm kind of, if it's not me, it's my mom. She's big on, having lists and, checking everything over. But, I had that deck system in the back of my truck. And of course, with the league, we didn't have a whole lot of travel help. We had power pole at every event, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Got to utilize them at Toho. But as far as like when I break down the side road, I had impacts, lower units, extra trolling motors. I try to make sure that I would, the whole season, the whole time before the season started, I ran through different scenarios in my head, like, well, this could happen.
Yeah.
So what would I need if this happened, tool wise, part wise, whatever. So I actually was pretty well prepared as far as that. So that would be my advice, is just make sure that you look at, where you're traveling, how many miles you're going to be traveling, and whatever could happen will happen or eventually will happen.
Yeah.
So just make sure you kind of prepare for that, so you're not stuck on the side of the road as far as, extra fuel or, I carried a generator, all kind of stuff in case if I didn't have a way to charge my boat. I mean, it was just, I try to think of anything and everything I could think of to where I could take that boat apart, put it back together, or, if I change the trolling motor, lower unit, all that kind of stuff. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Most important set of tools or tool you had, whether it was on the water or traveling. What was it? What got used the most?
I guess it'd be that impact, because I was taking tires off like every event. I mean, it was crazy. I had a hub issue before the season started, and my buddy Brennan, like I said, we fished together on these USA Bassins, and he was actually pulling his boat behind me because we go break a lake down. He'll take his boat, I'll take mine. We'll kind of separate practice. And he was coming up on me, and I didn't have any hubs, and that's what got me to put hubs in the truck, because I was like, man, I got everything else in here, but I don't have any hubs.
There you go.
So I made sure I had enough hubs to build, and I used every one I had. I think I had 4, and I used every one of them. Had to buy some more just the other day when I went up to Weedus Marine. So them guys up there took care of me before I went to Florida and checked all the stuff I had built and make sure it was built right, and changed the one that hadn't been changed. I think I had one left on there. So I got to give you a huge shout out to Weedus. Those guys take care of me whenever I need anything. So huge help.
All right, guys, let's get to some questions over here. I just, how I am. I get into talking.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Learning about things. All right. Bangler 365. Looking for a new cranking setup. Thoughts on the Lose Tournament Pro LFS on a Dobbins Fury Series 7-foot moderate, fast, medium, heavy, 20-pound Suffix 832 braid. Are you running straight 20 pound? I don't know. I'm a fluorocarbon guy when it comes to cranking. 20 pound is pretty heavy. Like what kind of cranks are you doing? I mean, a 7-foot moderate fast. I'm okay with that. I will say this, Dobbins tends to be on the softer side of things. What was the real Tournament Pro LFS? That's all right. I mean, that's all right, unless you're going to be deep cranking. What's your favorite? Let's just say I really want to get into some wintertime techniques. So tell us what your kind of go-to crankbait rod combo is.
Well, of course, I work with Dobbins, so I'm particular towards Dobbins, but
there you go.
I'm a glass rod guy. Even with like my square bill rod, even my 7-footer, I've got one rod that's a 6'8". It's the Caden series, and it's reason I like that rod is because I use it for 2 different things when I crankbait, like especially this time of year too, with running spinner baits and square bills and stuff. I like it because it's easy to roll cast with, but just going down the bank, throwing like a rock crawler or something. That's about the deepest I like to crank. I'm a shallow water guy. Gotcha. So like if I'm going to throw something like that, I got a 7'6". It's a glass rod. It's a Dobbins. It's the Champion series. And then as far as a rod or reel, I use a Shimano SLX DC 6.3-1. and 10-pound
Great reels.
Yeah, Seagar. So 10-pound Seagar, and that's what I crank with.
So now I got to explore this because I have
Mhm.
never been a glass fan.
Yeah.
So I like to feel every bump, you
Mhm.
know, like feel it. Like I want it
Mhm.
to rattle my teeth most of the
Yeah.
time.
I get you.
So why the glass rod? What do you think? What do
Well,
you think that really helps, especially on shallow cranking? Because
yeah.
for shallow cranking, for me, I really don't. And I know everybody
Mhm.
says pull it away, but I
Yeah.
think that's the more truthful statement to that is kind of ripping it free
Yeah.
from them. You know,
It's you have guys that, on the glass side of stuff, they don't like it because it is a soft rod. It's like a big wet noodle. And,
mm-hmm.
you feel a bite, especially a smallmouth. Smallmouth a lot of times will get behind your bait and kind of push it,
Yes,
and then, people will jerk away and they'll miss the bite or whatever.
yeah,
What I like about a glass rod is that if you can train yourself enough to just keep cranking, especially like smallmouth,
yeah,
um, that rod just loads up so well. And when you're trying to fight that fish, having that moderate action, so when that fish is jumping and stuff, just the way that rod unloads and loads up is just
gotcha.
it's the perfect combination. And I will tell you this, I use it for chatterbaits too. It's an awesome chatterbait rod, awesome spinnerbait rod. I mean,
Now
it's
that's more like open water chatterbaits. Like you're not
yes,
ripping
sir.
grass or
No,
anything
you're
with
not
it.
going.
Yeah,
Like if I go to Gunnersville or something, I'm going there and fish some grass lakes. I'm not going to use that rod for that because it's going to wear you out. I mean, you're going
yeah.
to have tendonitis of the elbow, and you're not going to be happy at the end of the day. So,
You're gonna
you
be
know,
ripping. It's gonna be like,
but I mean, as far as just going down the bank and cranking and stuff, I mean, in my opinion, and of course, I'm not no big time anybody, but that rod has just done me well. I've kept fish on that should have got off. You know what I mean? So if you can actually use that rod, how it's supposed to be used and stuff, and you get yourself familiarized, and it's like what you said, you can feel a lot of stuff. Like that rock crawler. Just the other day, we were fishing a tournament here locally, and I was going down the Channel Swing Bank, and I could feel everything now. Like I was picking apart that rock crawler, was deflecting off trees. I could feel all that, and it transfers through the rod really well for me on the Dobbin series, and just the load up itself, letting that rod kind of let that fish take that bait, suck it in, and letting that rod kind of work for you. You're not sitting there, the tension you're putting on it versus that rod giving it just
yeah.
it's a parabolic, and it's awesome. So I'm a
Maybe
huge
that's where I'm at fault. You know, maybe I've used some crappier feel glass rods, and
yeah.
I'm like, am I even on bottom? What is
Yeah.
going on here?
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
With them Dobbins, the Champion Series, the Caden Series. I mean, I know they don't offer the glass in the Caden, but um, the Champion Series, it's a pricier rod. But I mean, if you really want to get you a good crankbait setup, I mean, you really can't beat that Champion Series rod for the money. It's a really good rod.
yeah. All right, so you only get 3 baits, which
Mm-hmm.
considering that, I mean, we've only got a couple of weeks till the end of 2022.
Yeah.
You only get 3 baits for the rest of 2022. What are they?
Me, it'd be a rock crawler,
I
some type
like
of jig, and I guess my last one would probably be a drop shot.
drop shot. Mine's close to that.
Yeah.
For me, it's definitely going to be a Demiki rig.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, man, it is hard to choose between. I'll just say a crankbait,
Mm-hmm.
one of my wintertime crankbaits. I'm probably going to go jerkbait because
Yeah.
I love a jerkbait. Third. Ooh. 2.8 or 3.3 Kitech.
There you go.
I think that's where I'm going. So for me, but now I fish pretty clear water.
Yeah.
So
I've got a little bit of a mix here. I'm perfectly located. I could be at Cumberland in like an hour or something. I could be at Dell in 2 hours.
yeah, you're gonna have to give me all your Cumberland secrets because
Yeah.
I think I'm not announcing this, everybody. So don't hold me to this. But if the boat comes in time, I think I'm going to fish the Mountain Division next year. The BFLs as a boater. Yeah. I like those lakes better than I like mine.
Yeah, it's a really nice lake. I mean, it kicked me in my teeth this year for our first event, but I think that was kind of a timing thing for us. They changed the schedule up there on the beginning, so I know you had Taylor on here. I think it was last week or week before last, and he won that event. And where he was at, I'd never been on that side of the lake. I've never put in at Burnside. I've always put in at Holcomb's and ran up that way. But whenever they took us off the water and gave us that one day to compete for 50 grand, it kind of got in my head a little bit. And I ran down there and got in that clean water, and I'm trying to boat flip keeper smallmouth with a jerk bait and stuff because I'm nervous. My first event and my first cast as a professional fisherman, 50 grand, all this money. You're like, golly. And then I'm like rushing everything. It just was.
I don't doubt. Yeah, I don't doubt that a bit. That's, people can say it, man, I don't let it get to me. BS. BS all day.
It doesn't. There's something wrong.
Yeah,
you're local tournaments. I'll fish these local tournaments. We fished one this last week, and me and my buddy Brennan, and I think we both had to go in there and use a restroom. Man, we like tore up like a can of crap. We were just ready to go in there and get on the water, and I think first place would probably been $200 in that one.
Well, so like I was a big football guy. It was sort of my competition. Me growing up, played football forever, coached football. Offensive, defensive line. At my local, my little local high school forever, and football, you're just wired. It's just wide open from start to finish. But fishing, it's one of those things where it's like you're out there and you're kind of stressed because everybody's loading. You're trying to get jockeying, in position, and you're trying to, you're kind of nervous. Sitting out there on the water, and then blast off starts happening. Boat 1, 2, and then it's just wide open. You're down the lake, and it's like, so you're wide open, and then you pull up to the first spot, and you're like, boom. All right, here we go, guys. So it's like it goes from this, there's the ups and downs of tournament fishing.
It's crazy.
Even before you're catching fish, it's just. It's just all over the place.
Absolutely.
All right. So DFW Darren says, Adam, do you prefer smallmouth or largemouth during the competition? I'll tell you what, you go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
I'm a shallow water guy, so I'd rather get on them green fish. But I've over the last, I guess, 3 or 4 years, I've kind of opened my repertoire of catching those brown fish, and I do like to catch them when they're available to catch, but. My strengths are muddy, chocolate milk, up shallow, in their face kind of fishing. So green fish all day. I mean, if I only had one fish I could catch for the rest of my life, it'd be a largemouth.
I love and generally during the wintertime I fish for smallmouth pretty much exclusively. But all that being said, during competition, it's got to be largemouth. I'm sorry, they're just more predictable. They're more predictable. Now that may be different up north, where you got a bunch of sand and 4 or 5 big rocks and they're sitting there. But
you find them
down
rocks
here,
catch one.
Yeah, down here, I brought a buddy of mine. Shout out to my buddy Joey from South Carolina, and me and him have talked about it many a days. I'm out there a lot of times this time of year throwing a topwater Rico popper over 120 feet, catching smallmouth that are chasing shad and busting. They're like those blueback chasers in lower north and South Carolina. So they're just so hard to pinpoint. A lot easier now with the advent of forward-facing sonar and the leaps and bounds of sonar, but still just such a, I like I said, just so much easier.
Yeah.
Dave Washburn, hey Adam, what setup and bait have you had the most success with? Oh, good one. I'm writing this down.
For this year, it'd be a jig. I'm a flipper, and like I said, shallow water guy, so it would definitely be the jig. I always have a jig tied on year round, 12 months out of the year. I don't care where I'm going, where I'm fishing. I'm always gonna have a jig. And I guess that would be my number one bait, and behind that would be probably my second favorite would be like a spinner bait. So,
all right. Saber Outdoors. Sorry, I should read the bigger one over here. What would you rather travel in, a van or a truck?
Well, I've never traveled in a van, so I don't want to speak badly of a van, but this year we ran in a truck. I got me a Cummins this year. I had started out with a 1500, and that truck was taking all it could take and
Yeah.
more. So I finally mustered up and got a diesel, and that's been a huge help for pulling everything with all the tools and everything. But I could see where it'd be a benefit to have a van. I mean, I actually had thought about that, the ones that have like the camper kind of style, where
Oh yeah,
like a
yeah.
quick setup kind of thing. Because with campsites, I mean, I was like, man, I could just pop in a campsite, pay a couple $100 for the week, hook up some power, and just have a house on wheels.
Yeah.
But for me right now, I'd have to say a truck is where I feel most confident.
Yeah, like I'd love to have, and hey, Mercedes Benz, if you want
Yeah,
to hook me and Adam up with one
yeah.
of your 4-wheel drive campers, we'll take that. The
I
vans,
looked
we'll
at one of
take it
those
all
actually.
day. But those things are crazy
Yeah,
expensive,
yeah, they are
crazy expensive.
real expensive.
Yeah, and I know there's a couple of different versions out there. I think Ford even makes one.
Hmm.
But the problem with that is that I don't think they're 4-wheel drive.
No,
And you're going to be that one guy on the boat ramp. Whoosh, the tires spinning. You're just
oh yeah,
slowly making your way into the lake.
oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be that guy. I've
We
seen
had a
that
guy
guy
that traveled.
a
He
couple
traveled with
times.
one this year. He was all wrapped up and stuff. He had his mattress and stuff back there. But like I said, I was fortunate enough to get to travel with my mom, which, like I said, was cool. And getting to get in these houses, I'm not saying you have to have those comforts, and I don't even have to have those myself. But I'm fine with leaning my seat back. But
Yeah.
it's nice when you're on the water for 14 hours all day and for 3 days in a row, and be able to come back, take a shower, kind of walk around,
Oh yeah, yeah.
get some good rest. But as far as towing the boat and stuff around, I had to go with a truck for me.
So, Cajun Rob Fishing asked, what was your
Mhm.
best setup on Watts Bar this year?
Well, I won 10 grand on Watts Bar flipping a half-ounce creature bait and a half-ounce Trifinity worm from J Bros. So those two baits. Now, if you watch my YouTube video, you'll see in one of the catches I have a spinner bait, and I literally like roll cast it in a transition. There was like a mud wall coming into some chunk rock, and it was like a little eddy. And I was going to fish that eddy out, so I like flipped a little 3/8 accent spinner bait in there. And as soon as it hit, the thing went down. He sucked it in a 5.5 pounder. But other than that, the rest of the catches were literally off those two rods. So and I'll just run around fishing laydowns. There wasn't no rhyme or reason to what laydowns I fished. A lot of them I'd pull up and I wouldn't even put the trolling motor down. By the time I drift past them, I would, go on to the next one. So
Wow.
yeah, I really like that lake. Watts Bar was awesome. I was on pre-practice. I was on a really good dock bite, but then the weather changed. It got real rainy and cloudy and overcast, and those fish, it seemed like, pushed way back up under the docks. And the fish that were in those laydowns, for me, that being kind of more of my strength, that's what we have here at home to fish. I was able to get up on those and just pick them apart like a little surgeon and pull them fish out of there. So, but yeah, those are the two rods I used for that event.
Well, I'll tell you, I know it's a great lake for drum. That seems to be all I could catch that tournament I fished down there. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was in a drum tournament,
Yeah.
3 days, I probably had a couple 100 pounds.
I didn't catch any drum there. Now I tell you what, you go to Sandusky Bay, you'll catch more than you want over there.
Well, I tell you, man,
where you out.
I'm saying this is a video I'm telling you, please don't go watch. I've got a great drum video though. It's great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just practice for that Watts Bar tournament 2 years ago, and I mean, I don't know that I've ever caught more drum in my life.
They're fun
Up
to catch.
until that tournament, I had caught one drum my entire life.
You got a whole lifetime full there, huh?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like if I never see another, I'll be okay. I'll be great.
Yeah, they're fun to fight, but man, that's how it was at Sandusky. I was like, man, there's things I would do these fish that'd probably put me in jail.
Yeah, I mean, it was everything too. Like we were catching them on crankbaits, on Ned rigs, on jerk baits. I mean, you name it, we was catching them on it. If we were throwing it, we were catching drum. I hate a drum. All right, so Vaughn Littleton asks, Adam, what's your PB on a crankbait, and what time of year was it?
Well, for I got two different ones, I guess. So let's say smallmouth and largemouth. Smallmouth would be this time of year on Cumberland, and it was right at 5.5 pounds on the rock crawler. And then largemouth wise, I've caught a couple 6-pounders on a crankbait, So I would say the 6-pounder would be my biggest. There's actually that one that you actually posted in that picture. I caught that on a PH Custom Lures crankbait on a little balsa bait. So
good flat side custom baits
yeah,
right there.
yeah. Phil knows what he's doing. If you haven't checked out PH Custom Lures, you guys definitely check it out. They're a little bit more of a pricey bait, but I mean, for what you're getting, he literally hand tunes one of those baits. Everyone, I've been in his place. It's crazy.
Does he still make the top water, the wake baits?
Yeah, I got
guys.
Yes.
Right now, go get them. Go buy them. PH Custom Lures. Go buy those wake baits.
Yep.
It's basically, if you hear me talking about a long A, same sort of thing. Go fish them super slow everywhere.
Yeah, they're doing good right now. They're biting them right now.
Yes, right now is the time to fish them.
Yep.
All right, let's see what else we've got here. We're already me and Adam just going at it here. Yep. Hold on, wait. Before we answer this, I'm sorry, Lowbrow. So, guys, we do have a giveaway tonight. I'm gonna open this so you guys can see, and I'm probably gonna stab myself and bleed. And I'm already got a Band-Aid going, so you know, me and my granddaughter's what are those things? The walkers. Yeah, we had a fight, so I won in the end, but it drew blood. It drew blood. So, but this is from, and I've had these forever, and so I hope you don't hate me. But it's Bass X. He's from over in Kingsport, Tennessee, literally right next door to me. Bass X Custom Lures. And so we're going to pop them free. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to save the last part here, which is going to be the best part. I'm going to get these staples out. So try not to bleed anymore. Okay, I don't know where that staple went, so that'll be a barefoot find. All right, so let's see. He's included. All right, I'm just going to dump them out here. All right, here we go. So he's got a couple of really good looking swim baits. Oh, wait, the camera's up here. So check that out. Little multi-joint.
That's nice.
Trout color. Okay, I'm hooked in everything. Oh, yeah, look at that. He's got a spook version. Everybody knows I'm a big fan of my walking baits. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's a one knocker, too.
Yeah.
Good looking one knocker. Like those crazy reptile eyes. Got a nice little shad. A little bit of chartreuse on the bottom, which is good right now around those smallmouth. Let's see what this is. Oh, I'm dropping stuff everywhere. Apparently, this comes with a couple, 3 different tails. Good looking, man. That's got some. Look at that. That's probably got a really wide.
Oh yeah.
Glide to it. You've got a place where you can stick, and there is that's pretty cool. So it's even got a lip to it to get it a little deeper. 2 or 3 different. I don't know where the camera is. 2 or 3 different tails. Now, guys, I don't know how much this would cost. He sent them to me, asked me to do a giveaway with them. Like I said, I've been so behind. All right, and then I'm going to share. He's got one more thing right here. And this one I'm super excited about. So you might not get it. No, I'm kidding. I'll send it to you. Look at that. The big wake bait, the rat. And that is a killer paint job he's got on there.
It looks good.
So we're going to give that away tonight, guys. Except the rat. I'm kidding. I'm going to give it away. All right, so let's get back to it. We'll do it. Like I said, we'll keep Adam on here just a few more, maybe about another 30 minutes and let him get off here. He's got a sick daughter at home, so we want to.
Got no flu bug.
Maybe he wants us to keep him on here so he doesn't get it himself, though.
I'm probably going to have it before it's over.
Yeah. When you've got kids, if they're sick, you're sick.
You're getting everything they get.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad all of mine are just grandkids, because they're like, oh, she's sick. I'm like, don't you come over here.
Yeah, she's a trooper, though. She's pretty tough.
There you go. All right, so lowbrow fishing. What's your best catch this year?
Mm-hmm.
You know, got you a check, a PB, just the coolest catch, we'll even say. And which fish that got, so what's your best and the one, that one that makes you sick to your stomach and you got to sit down for a minute?
Well, I would have to say, well, it had to be Watts Bar. I know I go back to that one because I did get a check there, but that was one of those events that you ever hear people say you got an event where you just seem like you can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It was one of those tournaments. You can, if you watch that video I posted, it doesn't do it really justice because it's on a yellow tech stick and I don't have, different angles and stuff to express everything. But man, that was in a tournament that I don't know. I felt like I was one with everything I was doing as far as like picking those trees apart and all that stuff. It was just nothing could go wrong. I caught some really good fish there. I think what really hurt me on getting a top 5 finish there was on day 2, I came in with 4 fish for like 14 or 15 pounds. If I could have got that 5th keeper, I mean, that could have been a big game changer for me on that. But I really didn't lose any fish this year that I felt like cost me. Being my rookie year, I was pretty proud of myself. I went across the stage at every event.
Nice.
I could have had a camera at Watts Bar, but I was too far from where they were at. But I mean, I don't really have a tournament that I can think of that, man, if I'd have got that one fish, I lost some fish. But honestly, it was fish I seen. I didn't really lose any fish that I felt like would have helped me either way. But it seems like it's every person's speech when they go across stage, man, I lost some key fish. And it does happen. Not downplaying that in, but if anything, I'd say like Hartwell would probably be the event that probably hurt me the most, just because I was seeing the fish. I was skipping a mag graph under docks and I was seeing the fish and they just were not eating it. They would come out, that mag graph would come out, and all of a sudden you see this big brown thing in the water and it's like, golly, man. And I tried everything, skipping wacky rigs, little finesse swim baits up under there. I couldn't get them to eat. I could go to those shoals and I could work those shoals and catch fish, but it wasn't anything that was going to get me paid. All those bigger fish were around those docks and those cane piles and stuff. And God, I mean, it seemed like those ones on the docks. I was literally with my eyes seeing 20 plus pounds a day. And that hurt. Wow. That was one of those events. I was like, gosh, they're like right there. You just, that one kind of hurt me a little bit, but I didn't lose any fish there. Every fish I hooked, I got in the boat, and I didn't have a very good finish. I think I finished like 116th in that event. So, but didn't really have any events I fished where I got a fish that got off and I was like, dang it. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing. I never had any of those. So I feel very fortunate for that.
All right. Cooper, you're one of those guys. I'm not going to butcher your last name. Okay. Again, I'm a hillbilly. Ogden.
I almost asked about to say Ogden. Cooper Ogden.
Okay. Ogden. Yeah. All right. Do you like white spinners?
Like as far as like spinner baits, I guess, or is he talking like tail spinners, you think?
I don't know. Let's go with spinner. Let's go with spinner baits.
Yeah, I got a lot of spinner baits I can throw, but like I'm a pretty basic color guy, even with soft plastics. I'm a green pumpkin, black and blue, June bug, red bugs. I don't really get into the whole got to have this kind of flake. I think when it comes to that, it's kind of a confidence thing. I'm not saying it doesn't help, but spinner baits wise, I say that's probably the most colored spinner bait I have in my box. All my spinner baits, 99% of them are all silver and gold Colorado or double willow, and I'll take and switch blades around, but I don't get into the whole painted blade stuff and all that. But I'll tell you who makes a really good spinner bait. I don't know if he has anywhere you can get them on site, but I know they sell them at Williams Marine. It's Timmy Poe. He's known, especially if you like a river rat, kind of like I am. He makes some really, really good spinner baits. And that's actually what I used at Saginaw in the river, and I caught 15 pounds one day, and then caught several other fish off of. But that little spinner bait he makes is phenomenal.
Now, me, I've got a theory on blade colors. I'm like you. I keep like 99% of the time. I am throwing a white spinner bait.
Yeah.
If it's dirtier water, I'll throw a white and chartreuse. Other than that, now there is another color. I don't know if I want to share that with you, but it's for super clear water.
Yeah.
Early in the mornings. And we'll just call it a green pumpkin. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
That's not what it is, but we'll call it that. Now, what about the blade colors, though? Now, for me, I'll tell you, I am a big blade color guy. Like, and white,
Mm-hmm.
white.
Yeah.
Like I said a couple of years ago, and I've seen this over and over. For the most part, I will fish. You know, I I don't even change to a Colorado a whole lot unless we're in really dirty water,
Mm-hmm.
foot and a half or less.
Yeah.
But even then, like I will throw a double white, willow leaf blades,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's overcast and raining.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because with those silver blades, a lot of time you're just reflecting that gray sky, so you're not getting
Yeah.
a great reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, I've had it pay off for me so many times. It did in a practice just a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother story. Why it didn't pay off later, but
Yeah.
you can see the video. So yeah, I like them. That's something that I go to a whole lot. Army Outdoors. Do you talk to yourself while you're fishing? Do you find it helpful to figure things out and calming?
Yeah. I do talk to myself on fishing. I mean, like with the league, I could have immediate family on the boat with me if I wanted to. And I've had my brother went fishing with me. My older brother, he fished with me at Saginaw and stuff. So it's nice to get somebody on the boat. But if you have somebody on the boat with me, they'll think I'm in a bad mood. I really don't say a whole lot. I'm talking to myself mentally, just because it's like when I get ready for an event. If I'm driving there, I don't say a lot because I'm already thinking about different scenarios.
Yeah.
It's hard. I kind of get my mind in that game, but. There's times when it does help me calm down. There's times when I want to grab myself, choke slam myself off the boat. So I mean,
that's me too. I've got to and that's something that even as long as I've been doing the whole YouTube thing, like I still, when it starts getting tough, I still have, I get quiet. Now I'm talking to myself in my head.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of the stuff I'm saying probably would have to be bleeped out.
Yes.
But it's
I've had times though, like at Watts Bar again, I had to calm myself down because I felt like I was catching really good quality fish, and it's one of the things where you don't want to mess with, like, oh gosh, we can't use nets, so you're trying to get down there and get the fish, and it's taking another dive down, and you're trying to calm yourself down. And
the good thing for me is 90% of the time, unless I'm using some with finessey baits, I boat hop everything.
Oh yeah. Most time I will. That's most time. That's what I'll do too. But there were some instances there where I was like nervous that I was gonna have them be able to answer that guy's question and be like, I had several fish that got off because I was trying to do something crazy. But that's what happened to me at Cumberland. I was trying to boat flip fish with stupid baits. Just trying to hurry up and force myself. But I talked to myself a lot at that event.
If I've got a single hook, they're coming in the boat. If it's a single hook, bait. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's trebles, I'm a little more nervous.
Yeah.
Unless I can just see that they're hooked that good.
Yeah.
All right. Adam, let's see. Does Adam prefer balsa wood baits over ABS plastic baits?
Mm-hmm.
If you're using ABS crankbaits, do you prefer the bone material, or does it matter to you? Bone material.
I'll be honest with you, like crankbait wise, I'm a DT, Spro rock crawler kind of guy, and of course PH custom lures. As far as the balsa baits, a lot of times people tell you, balsa is a cold water bait, and I'm not saying it doesn't work phenomenally well in cold water bait because of the action, but a little secret is if you get out there and you're offshore fishing, PH, they do make some deep diver crankbaits too, or even you shallow water guys. A lot of guys will get up there shallow and they'll start throwing the 1.5s and, beating and banging around and stuff. And balsa can come in key and clutch on those times of years because those fish get pressured a lot. And having something just a little bit different sometimes is a huge, huge benefactor. And I've won money. I've got money here locally off throwing baits that some people will probably look at me and be like, why are you using that right now? That's where you're supposed to use that when the water's in the 50 degrees.
Yep.
And I'm here throwing it when it's 89. So I keep balsa in the boat year round as far as the crankbaits I do throw. But I don't really have a particular kind of, other than just, the pH and then the Spros, I don't get into the fine details of crankbait fishing because if I don't have a crankbait or a spinnerbait, I'm flipping. I'm skipping docks or lay downs and stuff like that with a jig or a Texas rig.
So let's talk a little bit about cold water cranking. So I know you're a big rock crawler fan. Me, I've got a little system. I actually just filmed a video on that. It'll be out, I don't know, sometime.
Okay.
Sometime. So when you're fishing, when you're cranking during the winter time, cold water, like I was out on a local lake and we were already 46-degree water temps. Kind of what's your method? I've had a lot of guys ask me, about speed, line, areas that you're targeting. Give us a little rundown on that sort of stuff. What do you do? What's your favorite way? I guess to simplify it. What's your favorite way to cold water crank? And give us a little bit of situation too.
Okay. Well, generally like to start at is I'll get on those channel swing banks, the rockier banks.
Yeah.
And I'll get parallel with those suckers as tight as I can, and I'll crank whatever depth there is. So if I'm in 9 to 12 foot, I'm going to throw a rock crawler. I always try to go a foot to 2 foot deeper than what I'm using to throw, as far as depth, so I can keep contact on the bottom. And what I'll do is I'll use that 7'6". I'll make a bomb cast as far as I can, and with that glass rod and that SLX DC, and you can loosen up those brakes really well. I mean, you can really bomb on those spros that are pretty far. What I will do sometimes this time of year is I will change my crankbait reel up just for me. You got to kind of be careful when you do this, but I might change it up to like a 7.3 to 1, because if I'm trying to be productive, I'll try to make those long casts. I'll try to hurry up and get down to the bottom real quick, and then I'll slow it down and kind of like pick and let that thing kind of deflect and off stuff. Kind of like pick everything across the bottom.
Count rocks.
They're cold water fish. I mean, they're cold blooded, so. Yeah, they're moving, but they're not moving like they would be moving in the summertime.
Yeah. As I said, you're letting it count rocks.
Yeah, just count the rocks.
Get it down there quick, and then I'll almost, if I can, like you said, if I'm fishing some riprap or something, I'll Carolina rig it.
Yeah, I've done that. Where you're kind of like reeling and sweeping.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the speed cranking doesn't work. You'll hear a lot of guys that say, get out there and speed crank, and you're getting that reaction bite. But I'll do that more when I'm on those smallmouth fisheries, because a lot of times with smallmouth, smallmouth will get behind your bait and they'll trail it.
Yeah.
And people feel like they're getting bites, but it's those fish like closing the distance on that bait, and they really won't hit it until that bait changes direction.
Yeah.
So what I'll generally do is when I start feeling that, or I get in those areas where I know I'm going to get bit, I'll try to just burn it and get those fish to hurry up and commit. Or I'll walk that rod kind of past my reel up, just because I know they're going to hit it there at that last turn. But as far as like going out here on a local lake and getting these largemouth, I'll look for these channel swings, the rockier banks. I really don't fall into that hitting the sunny side of the banks. I mean, I caught one the other day. It was the darkest part of the lake, and it was almost 5 pounds. So I mean, I don't think that plays a big, huge factor where I live. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not an expert by any means, but my confidence is just getting on those high productive areas like that, and just slowing down and kind of picking stuff apart, and just doing whatever you're confident with. If you're confident with certain crankbaits a little bit deeper, go out there and do that, but just kind of slow down a little bit and kind of let the fish tell you what they want. Sometimes it's a presentation thing. Sometimes it's a color thing. I mean, they're like us, man. They get in these moods, and this time of year, these bigger fish for sure would rather commit to a bigger bait than they would a smaller bait. They're not going to exert themselves to chase down a smaller.
As I always say, I used to be a real finesse angler.
Yeah.
Due to life circumstances, I had to kind of lay fishing down for about 2.5 years.
And
when I come back, it was like my whole mind changed.
Yeah.
And so I fish a lot of clear lakes, and I'm a huge ledge fishing guy, deep water guy. And so I always tell people, I just got to looking around and how many people were dink-a-linking a stupid little worm around. And I got to thinking, what happens if I throw a 7-inch swim bait, soft plastic swim bait over top of this tree?
Oh, yeah.
And, that was something that at that time, 100 years ago, not a lot of people were actually doing yet.
Yeah.
And so fish will take a steak over a Vienna sausage.
Absolutely.
A lot of times.
Absolutely. That's for sure. But I mean, that's what I look for. I mean, it's just I kind of like put myself, try to think where the fish would be, where would I want to be at, where I could, feel like, you got water levels changing right now. People are going in those winter drawdowns, and, they don't want to make huge, long moves. So, a lot of people tell you get in the ditches and then kind of work your way out from like a creek, back in a pocket. And that does help. I'll do that sometimes. I'll get in those ditches and I'll kind of hit those secondary points and walk my way out of it.
Yeah.
But I can almost guarantee on any lake you get on, if you get on the channel swing side and just cover water, that's a huge factor this time of year if you're going to crankbait. You just got to cover water if you got the right conditions with the wind and all that stuff. But if you cover water with that, you're going to get bit.
Danny Smith, the answer is yes. I do it all the time. It's either this or I picked up one from my buddy.
Yeah, here fishy. Yeah,
I picked up one for my buddy. Again, shout out to my buddy Joey down in South Carolina. I'm like, come on, old big, come on.
My dad used to say all the time, he'd be like, here, fishy.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What water temp are you looking at? For me, I think it's the low 50s, 52, 53. 55 or less, you can mark it there. I think they're still pretty active, smallmouth especially. In the low 50s, but 52, 53. What do you consider really? When do you start really thinking? When you're taking any sort of crankbait and you're you got that natural rhythm to slowing down. When is that winter cranking? What water temp does that winter cranking happen for you?
I think when they're around here, it seems like when the lake's getting those 40 degrees, the higher to the mid 40s, especially the greenfish. I slow down. Like I said, they're cold-blooded animals, and they're still moving, but they're not moving as much as they are in the summertime. So, and of course, when you go fishing tournaments, you're trying to get the biggest fish you can catch. So I try to like work areas and pick stuff apart where I feel like those bigger fish are going to be at, and give them the best opportunity I can and put myself in the best position. Even I've kind of got this year, I've kind of got in it to where, throwing the bigger swim baits in the same areas just to draw that bigger bite.
Yeah.
And it's been something I haven't had a whole lot of confidence in and I still don't. I still haven't caught a lot of fish off of it, but I've noticed if you get in those areas, you get a lot of fish. You'll have a lot of followers kind of showing themselves with that. But you'd be surprised. You can burn a bank up and catch a bunch of 1.5, 2 pounders, but you go back down that bank with the right bait and you start seeing 5s and 6s coming up. So it's
and a swim bait is great for that. And right now, and that kind of goes to Terrence Taylor's question. Best topwater winter bait. Funny that he asked this because I did also, and this is probably going to be my next video coming out tomorrow. I'm going to specifically talk about this, but for me, where I live, a long A has been, which is a bomber long A, which is a jerk bait, but it's the worst jerk bait ever created. But it's the greatest smallmouth wake bait you will ever fish in your life. And I think one of the reasons is because it does, and the reason why it's a great late November through December bait, in those same sort of areas you're talking about, those channel swings, overlay downs, even those kind of long, they'll kind of get on those long mud points, and you just fish it slow. 14-pound test, leader. I like about an 8-foot, and then I'll throw 20-pound. Some guys will be like, I'll throw 10-pound. That's fine, whatever you want to do. I use canine line, and they're stinking braid is as thin and slick as you'll ever want. So it floats it well. And that is the key with a long A. And we'll talk about the other one we was talking about just a second ago, which I've got 2 or 3 in the wake bait box myself.
Yeah.
But it just you want it to look like that cold dying shad.
That's it.
And that's why a wake bait works so great. I put down the walking bait probably first couple of weeks of November, middle of November, and then it's all wake bait for me at that point if I'm looking for a topwater bait.
Same here.
Go ahead and shout out what do you remember what they call it? I don't remember what they call it. I swear I'm looking it up right now.
You talking about the pH?
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact name of it, but if you want to get, in my opinion, one of the best wake baits, you can't beat it for the money.
Yeah, it's a balsa wood
Yep.
bait. Let's see. I'm
And you
shopping
can
right now.
when a lot of times with those wake baits, you're reeling that sucker back slow, just getting that small action, and that bait puts, I don't know what it is about it, just the way Phil's got that thing designed. It's money.
Oh God, do they not make it anymore? I'm gonna cry if they don't make this.
But if they don't, I've got a couple.
Yeah, no, I do too. I'm gonna tell you right now though, if they don't make this, I don't see it on their website. Let's see. Maybe it's old.
See my cousin down here.
I don't see it. That really scares me.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking the other day, I was like, I got to go out there and buy a couple more of those.
I have to ask you about that.
Yeah, you've got to ask about that. Whew. Anyway, all right. So anyway, if we find more, I'm hitting eBay tonight.
Yeah, if you can get them, you need to get them. They're really good.
They're incredible. They're incredible.
Sure.
But yeah, wake bait and not you don't want one that's loud either.
No.
This time of year you don't want obnoxious baits. I like this time of year. I don't know how you feel about it, Adam, but you tell me if I'm totally wrong, because I might be, and it's very easy. And I don't, I've been married 28 years. I know I'm wrong every day at 3 points of the day.
Oh yeah.
If I'm going to go with something that's got rattles, generally I like a rattle this time. Like I talk a lot about summertime. I like a one knocker, like the walking bait here. But during the winter time, if I want something, I do want a more rattle, like smaller BBs in it. For me, what do you think?
I would agree with you, just for the fact that these fish are on bait, and there's a piece of equipment out there that everybody usually has in front of their boat. I don't remember the daggone name of it. I had one in front of my dad's boat. It's that little bait sounding machine thing on there. What's that thing called? TH makes it.
Yeah. I did.
I can think of it.
I've still got one, and I use it all the time. Actually, during this time of the year.
So I think with the BB style,
the hydrowave.
Yeah, you go, hydrowave. And I think with the BB style, that's what those fish are getting from that. It's like the water sound that's going through there. So that, to them, sounds like school and bait fish. I would agree with you 100% on that. That if I was going to use anything with rattles this time of year when this water gets at this temperature, it would be the BB style instead of the one knocker.
If I had to have sound to it, that's one thing I do like about both the PH when they had it and the long A. They're quiet.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So we've been on here for about an hour and 7 minutes. We're going to give it about another 5 or 10 minutes. We'll do the giveaway, and we'll let Adam get back to his normally scheduled life.
Yeah.
South Jersey Fisherman 028. Has Adam ever used any of the Claude Brown wake cranks or rats? I have not. I don't even think I've heard of that, and I'm going to go look those up now.
Yeah, I've never used any. I've actually looked at some baits in that kind of category because, next year, depending on what route I go, but next year the first stop for NPFL is Lake Amistad in Texas, and that's a big fish factory down there. Yeah. So, I've thought about if I was going that route and was down there, that I was going to kind of increase my arsenal with getting some of those off the wall kind of baits like that, the bigger swim baits, the bigger rat style baits, just to get around those bigger fish. But I have never thrown them, but I'm not opposed to throwing them. I don't have any confidence in them right now because I don't throw them enough.
Gotcha. So Dave Washburn asks, "Hey Adam, what electronics do you use and like the most?"
Oh, well, right now on my boat, I have the Lowrance Lives on there, and I run a Garmin Live Scope. I'm not sponsored by any of those companies, but my buddy over at Central Kentucky Sonar, Brad, he's a wizard when it comes to electronics and wiring, all that stuff. But he got me sitting right this year, and I had some carbons on the boat before, and which were really good. But those Lives with the processors they got them in now with the fan and stuff, they're just, they're top notch. They're quick. They respond real quick, and I haven't had any issues with them. And I definitely like the mapping system that comes with that C-Map on there. I run 2 different maps, the Navionics and that C-Map when I'm on a body of water, because with the C-Maps, especially like when he's at Toho, and it's not a very deep lake, I could change my color palette to a certain depth and I could still burn across that lake and not really have to worry about anything. So But yeah, I'm running Lawrence's this year, Lawrence's and Garmin. I've actually got I put a Humminbird on there too. I got the 360, so I got all of them.
So what's the schedule for 2023 looking at like, and which lake are you looking most forward to if you get to fish the NPFL? And we hope you do. We hope you do.
Me too.
And which one are you saying, oh God, I don't want that one?
Man, I'll be honest with you. This year's schedule, as soon as they announced it, I was like, I don't know how to express it. I mean, it's just I was ready to get going. I guess the one I would say that I'm not really sure about would be the one in Texas, the Amistad Lake. It's a deep, clear reservoir. Never really fished a whole lot of lakes at that caliber on that size, but the one I'm looking the most forward to going to would be the Wright Patman event. If you guys watched those guys last year, Keith Carson won that with like 68 plus pounds, 3-day total.
Yeah.
And I got to be on that lake for one day, and I had to sit on my hands because it's just that lake sets up for my strengths. It's a shallow water lake, and you got a lot of buck brush and muddy water, and they got some absolute big fish in there. And I believe this year or 2023, it'll take that weight, if not more, to win that event. And so that's the one I was looking forward to going to the most. And then of course they're going back to Saginaw Bay, which now that I have the confidence I've gained from this year, I feel like I could do really well at that lake as well. But the schedule kind of sets up for me this year in my strengths. But, kind of going into that a little bit, and I mentioned in the beginning of the game, it's very expensive. And this being my first year competing at this level, I've tried to go to every show I could go to, meet these companies that products I use. And I'm the kind of person like, I'm not going to go out here just because somebody says, hey, I'm going to give you this money. I want you to do this.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had those opportunities, but
yeah.
I kind of told myself this year when I got into, knowing I was going to fish this level, that I really wanted to work with companies that I felt like were going to kind of set up with my same beliefs. And, we kind of wanted the same kind of ultimatum, because I know it all boils down to a lot of social media stuff now. That's the
it does.
And I can respect that because I worked in sales for 11 years. I know what that consists of. But I've been trying to really target companies, both endemic and non-endemic companies, to work with, is people that I truly believe in what they offer product wise, or I've got to know them through this year. But it's all going to be based on which decision I make to fish next year. I've been invited to fish the NPFL, and I really want to pursue that because I feel like that's my best opportunity. But I've also got to make smart decisions when doing this, because if you're not careful, you can really put yourself in a bad situation when it comes to the amount of money you're going to spend. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm kind of weighing my options, trying to figure out, who's going to jump on board with me for 2023, what I have to work with, and kind of, choosing the best route to go off that.
Yeah. And again, guys, make sure you go check out his YouTube channel.
I appreciate that.
It is Adam Savage Fishing. Because like he said, the social media is a huge deal. There's links down there. I don't have a link to his TikTok yet.
It's the same. All my social media is Adam Savage Fishing, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all that. I do have 2 Facebook pages. I've got one that's Adam Savage, which is my personal page. But as far as like everything else, is all Adam Savage Fishing. So if you were to search that, you should be able to find me on any social media platform, that's out there.
All right. So Tony asked, and what's up, Tony, by the way? Good to see you, brother. Do you use Bait Maker's bait? I've not used those.
No, I haven't used those either. As far as baits right now, I'm using a lot is the J Bros on the soft plastic side of stuff. Larry does a really good job. He's kind of not trying to change the industry, but he's got some baits that are kind of a little bit different.
Oh yeah.
And, it's companies like that I like to work with. They're not that my way should be the way to go, but he actually listens to his customers. He does a lot of lives on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and he wants people's feedback that are spending their money. So I like that you could tell they're sincere about what they do. But soft plastic wise, it's J Bros, hard baits, PH Custom Lures, Timmy Poe. I'm not sponsored by Timmy Poe. Timmy Poe's a guy that lives in Ohio, up there next to my Aunt Darla and them. My cousin's up there on the Ohio River. He makes an awesome spinnerbait. I use a lot of his stuff. So I got to give a huge shout out to Nico, because Nico gets me hooked up on those, because I don't live close to them. So I'll tell him to buy the spinnerbaits and I'll pay him back. But Timmy Poe makes an awesome spinnerbait, and I've done really well this year off that bait. But as far as that company that guy mentioned, I've never used any of their stuff.
All right. Lowbrow Fishing asks, which would you rather have given to you?
Mm-hmm.
Top of the line boat, all the bells and whistles each year, or all the tackle and gear you could ever need?
Man. Well, I'm going to go with the tackle probably. I mean, if I could, I guess I say it this way: if I could keep what I got now, as far as a boat,
Yeah.
That's dress me. I'm fine fit. Like next year, I'm going to fish out of my Phoenix unless something happens and I get a deal with a boat company. It's a 2018. There's nothing wrong with it. It is a 2-stroke, but I mean, I'm going to keep running that boat, and just because it makes logical
2-stroke.
Yeah.
You're still, which I can't say nothing. Listen, I got a 98 Triton with a 98 Johnson, so I'll take a boat all day. They want to give me a boat, I'll take a boat all day. Because I'm telling you right now, not only does my 98 Johnson drink gas, but it drinks oil like it's a frat boy getting on a keg stand. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. My dad's boat was like that. He had a Johnson on the back. He was a 95 Stratus 268.
Yeah.
Probably the sharpest boat. One of my friends I used to work with, he actually bought that boat. And I always told him, I was like, if you ever decide to sell this boat, I'm not saying I could buy it back, but please holler at me. You know what I mean? Because it was my dad's boat and stuff. And if I ever had the opportunity, I would try to purchase it back. But his boat was like that. And it still runs good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that boat.
I got to give a big shout out to my buddy G. Hey, man, finally got the stuff you sent me in a video, man. I appreciate that. By the way, guys, I always say it, you don't have to send me anything. But if you do send me anything, I will try to get it in a video and give a shout out to you guys. There's always a P.O. box down there. All right, so we're going to take a little time out. We can answer some of the questions as we go. I've got to get this giveaway going. Oh, now I've got to remember. Now I've got to remember how to do it because I always forget this. Let's see. Is it here? Yeah, here we go. Let's see. No, yeah, share screen. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. Got it going. So here we go. It should populate in here with us, I believe. There we go. All right, guys. So the giveaway, again, I'm going to go through everything. Hashtag rat. You can go ahead and start entering it into the comment section. Again, I'm going to show you. Again, man, that chartreuse on that belly, I can't tell you how well that works on jerkbaits around smallmouth sometimes. I'm just throwing stuff everywhere. Okay, there we go. Got a nice trout color. And like I said, this is really cool. This one's cool. Again, got the tail movement. I guarantee this has got a huge glide to it.
Oh, absolutely.
And so and it comes with like spare tails, and you can even put a lip in it. That's pretty neat right there. Let me get this out of your way. And again, the part that you're not going to get, I did hashtag rat so I can keep this one, just so you know. I'm keeping the rat. No, I'm kidding. And of course, I get the last hook hung in the bag. Okay, this is as much as you're going to get to see of it because I'm putting it back. But that is a great wake bait rat. Yeah, it's an awesome paint job. So we're going to put that. We're going to slide the rat back in. Again, this is from my buddy. You can get to him on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram. BassX Custom Lures. I know you probably can't see that, but I'll put a link down there in the description for that too. And we'll get this stuff sent out to you guys. Some pretty neat custom paint job, custom stuff. Oh, yeah. And, of course, we can't forget the spook style bait. Again, oh, my mic's over here.
Oh, yeah.
Got that one knocker sound to it. All right, I'm going to wrap this up and get it out of the way. So we got 40 entries. Guys, by the way, 83 people in here. We appreciate it. You guys have
you.
had a great turnout tonight. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. If you don't like it, hit that dislike button. It all counts as, so
Yeah, there you go.
Whatever, wise guys. All right, so we're gonna get back into taking some questions here. We're gonna finish up the night. All right, Alan Howard. What about a shad wrap on a 4-1-1? Yeah, that's pretty slow for me.
Yeah.
But a 5-1 I can do. I'll be honest with you, and I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of Adam here, my guest.
Are you fine?
But I've kind of gone away over the years. Like I used to fish pretty much all my deep divers on 4s and 5s, but I've kind of gone away from that. I can slow down, so I don't mind doing that. It works. Which 4-1s they're hard to find now, even in the spinning world now.
Yeah.
They're getting harder and harder to find. They're like they're going the way of the dinosaurs, I think.
I've got some old Shimano's that are in that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I throw shad wraps now. I mean, I got a box in my boat that I put in this time of year.
Yeah.
And I'll start throwing those shad wraps. But I usually throw those on spinning tackle. So
that's me too.
Yeah, it's a bait that gets bit around here. And it's about this time of year up until the springtime. That's what I'll throw that. I'll have it tied on the boat.
Yeah. Oh, what just happened to the comment section? Come on back, guys. Here we go. Let me get back down there. There we go, Tony. So Tony, what about flat sides? I love flat sides this time of year from Balsa, like PH Custom. Even the Spro Little Johns.
Yep.
There's so many of them. You can even get away with a DT series from Rapala.
Yep.
Rapala, whatever you want to call them. Who else is a big one? Oh, probably an unsung is one of the Berkeley Fritz sides.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great one. Go ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that you're probably choosing the same ones I'd be choosing. I mean, I know you got Ott Defoe came out with those little
the OG slims,
stuff, but the Berkeley Fritz side is probably, besides the PH, that's probably my second favorite. Is that Berkeley? That actually, I fished a Toyota event a couple years ago at Gunnersville, and Jimmy Washam won that event. And that's what he was throwing, was that Berkeley Fritz side down there on top of that grass. But yeah, that's a really good bait. It casts really well. With the Rapala, what I'll say is that's probably my second favorite crankbait. It seems like Rapala is as far as the action and stuff, I can almost pull anyone out of a box and they always run true. And yeah, it's not a big deal to tune a crankbait, but it's some of these crankbaits you buy, I feel like you shouldn't have to be tuning them for the money you're spending and all that stuff.
Yes.
But and the technology we have in our hands now, there should be no reason why we're tuning these baits. But Rapala, as far as the flat side, only because of that balsa style bait, but nothing against the Berkeley Fritz side. They run really well. I've caught a lot of fish off of them, but I say PH, Rapala, then the Berkeleys are probably my three picks on those flat sides.
There you go. Well, I've never had good success on a wake bait when the lake is frozen. You've just got to cut long, not just a hole. You've got to kind of cut a long strip,
You got to run your bait off. You got to run your boat off in there real hard. Bust it open a little bit. That's what a buddy of mine, Ryan Salzman, he did that at Watts Bar when we left. He was getting stuff off all that down there by the dam, all that logs and stuff are building up. Just taking the boat and pushing it out of the way. But man, that dude was competing for a lot of money, so I don't blame him.
All right. Do you snap on your balsa baits?
I don't. Only thing I use a snap on is if I'm going to put a snap on anything, it would be kind of like the walking baits, just to give it that action. Because I'm not big on that loop knot. I don't even know what that knot's called, but it scares the crap out of me. But as far as like any crankbait I tie, and then like I said, I'm not an expert, but I will tell you what I've noticed is if you could tie that knot to line up into that joint of that metal, clip there.
Yeah.
It helps that bait run for some reason it does something where that knot gets in the center. I don't know if it's like a center point or what, but it keeps that knot from kind of walking off a little bit. But that's how I tie mine. I'll sit there and put it right there. But I don't use snaps. I know a lot of people use them. I've got friends that use them just for a quick change and stuff. But I'm that guy that does what the dentist don't ask. I usually just bite my stuff off and retie something else. So
that's I use snaps, but I use snaps like if during practice.
Yeah.
If I'm fun fishing or whatever, that's fine. If I feel like I'm going to change real quick, now I will not use snaps with a split ring.
Yeah,
it's directly to the bait most of the time. But that's when I'll use them. You know, if I'm out fun fishing or I'm doing anything, just quick. When I'm on the water, it's all about efficiency. So for that just helps me be a little more efficient. But like during the tournament now, no, I don't use them.
Yeah.
What is your favorite soft plastic bait?
I'm gonna have to go with J Bros just because I'm not trying to toot his horn because he's a sponsor of mine. But his baits, that Trifinity worm, is probably my favorite bait that he makes. I know you got some of them the other day.
I did. I can't wait.
Oh my gosh. You take that. I mean, that bait helped me win 10 grand. That his soft plastics, if you look up his videos, the way he pours them stuff, that bait, when it's under the water, it stands up perfectly. Those tails all go back to their natural form. They're kind of undulating under there. So, I don't know. It's just something about that bait, but that's probably my favorite bait as far as soft plastic. And then after that would be a creature bait, which he's working on a creature bait. He's got some baits that I would consider a creature bait, like the Jester and stuff, but he's got some stuff in the works. I'm not going to put his business out here, but he that's to announce, but he's got some stuff that I've seen, and I feel like pretty soon everybody's going to hear about J Bros. Just not only because of the person that Larry is and the way he runs his business, but just the baits he's putting out and how much thought goes into all his stuff. So I
agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that 100%. I do. I agree with that 100%. All right. So we're going to take this last question, then we're going to pick a winner.
Yeah.
And then we're going to, I'm going to go to bed. I don't know about y'all, but I'm old, fat, and sleepy. So, first off, Adam, man, thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate you having me on here.
I appreciate you coming, man, talking to us. Hope you get to fish the NPFL again next year. Because we're excited to see, what you've learned and get to see you apply that.
Oh, absolutely. But it's they run a really, really well ran organization as far as the tournament side of stuff, and that's the reason why I put my money in that boat. Especially my first year, I didn't have a whole lot of sponsors, and I still don't have a whole lot of sponsors. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit that, but they actually genuinely care about the anglers and the companies that represent those anglers. So I feel like that was the best platform because again, this is something I'm trying to pursue, full time. I mean, I've tried to build a business platform off of it and try to look at stuff as a business because it's how you got to treat it. I run it. I got an LLC for it and everything. So I'm wanting to fish the NPFL, but I got to also, make sure I'm not letting my, my feelings get in the way of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something I want to continue to pursue if the opportunity is there for me to be able to do it.
Nice. All right. So last question, if they ban forward-facing sonar, how do you think it would affect tournaments?
I'm a little bit biased on this question. I know it's a question that gets asked a lot. And I think it would hurt some anglers. There's some guys that, learned on that. I don't say this in a bad way, but unfortunately they learned how to fish off that forward-facing sonar. They don't really have an intuitive imagination when it gets to getting on the water and kind of like, that animal instinct of, being able to look at something and say, I know I can go over there and I can catch a fish off that. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what these graphs say. And I've done that. I've scanned stuff and, those things don't pick up everything. You're looking at it. No. So but as far as the guys that are competing at these higher elite levels and stuff, these guys have been doing it for many years. You take that off the boat, they're still going to catch the caliber of fish they're catching. They're still going to be catching checks. So it's not going to affect anything. But you would see it affect some people. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it wouldn't, but would it bother me to take it off the front of my boat? No. Do I have it on the front of my boat? I do, because everybody else has it. And when you're paying this kind of money and you're competing, you know, you want to have every advantage you can. But
like I say, you know, don't hate the player. And a quote from Booker T: "Don't hate the player, hate the game."
Yes, sir.
You know, but you know, basically to sum up what Adam says, is it going to change professional angling if they were to outlaw it? No. These guys have been catching fish before it. They'll catch fish after it. They've been doing it for a while. The younger guys, that's who it's going to affect.
It would.
The young guys. And so, you know, like I said, I mean, for me, you know, I've been fishing deep with a flasher since as far back as I can remember. So, you know, I talked to my buddy Die Hard Angling, and, you know, around where I live at, I've been chasing suspended bass over 100 foot of water before anybody ever thought about.
Yeah.
You know, I watch some guys like I you know, no disrespect, they're great anglers, but like I remember seeing you know, a couple of big YouTubers, Tactical Bassin, get the 360 and talk about how it was going to change the game as far as suspended bass. I've been fishing for suspended bass. If you didn't fish for suspended bass around here, hell, you wasn't winning nothing. You know, I mean, that's been happening forever. It helps to be better at it now.
Oh, it does.
Because you're not just getting out in the middle of an area and fan casting.
Yeah.
And counting baits down. But the guys that are going to catch them are going to catch them.
Yeah, regardless
whether they got everything or whether they got nothing.
No, I get my butt beat quite a bit here locally from these old guys that don't have a graph on their boat. You know what I mean? They just been, you know, fishing these lakes, and
it's the guys with you know, dip stain and white beaters on, and
they got a little bit of tobacco hanging out of their mouth, and it's black and stained.
Still maybe got a cigarette just dangling.
1987 just hanging there. Them guys they've been cashing checks and snapping necks, and I mean, and that's what it is. It's all what you're confident in. I mean, if you got somebody that's been on the water, and you know, you can fish. Like my brother, he's a tattoo artist. He tattoos. He's always been artistic. He's always drawn, and that was I heard it from one of his guys that work with him. Is you got tattoo artists now that all they got to do is take a picture of something, put it in this machine, it prints it out, they put it on your skin, and they trace it.
Wow.
Anybody can really be a tattoo artist in that sense, but to be a true artist, you got to be able to, you know, to look at somebody's skin and be able to draw, and he has that. So if he had that machine, just like if I didn't have live scope, he could still do his job. But it's all about what you're confident in the day too. So there's a lot of people that learned off that live scope and on the offshore stuff, and there's a lot of guys, if you take that off the front of their boat, what they're going to do is they're going to go back to the bank, because they don't know how to do the 2D stuff or whatever. But that's what I was raised up on, was 2D.
Me too.
So I don't mind the video game fish with them arches.
Yeah. Damn, but listen, I've done it on flashers.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So speaking of which, Tackle Junkie, I guess he's live right now. I know Tuesday is normally his day, and I apologize if we done had to talk about this. You know, normally I'm going to be MNF, Monday Night Fishing, and Tackle Junkie's going to do the Tuesday. So when we get off here, make sure you go hit Tackle Junkie up. Tell him I said I'm sorry. I'll do the same thing. And for running long, we've had such a good time with Adam. Let's go ahead and pick this and see who's won. You got to be here to win, though, so don't go to Tackle Junkie just yet. I'll go ahead and put my...
There you go.
All right, Travis. He's like Madonna, no second name, you know, just Travis.
Just Travis. I'm glad Nico didn't win. Well, congratulations, Travis.
I'm putting my email down here. Yeah, congratulations. All right, guys. So, Travis, shoot me a comment in the comments section down here. Let me know that you're there. And then shoot me an email. I just dropped it down there. It is BassGeek. I'll drop it in there again. BassGeek.bite me, because I'm always hoping the fish are going to bite me, and it seems to never happen. But yeah, nice win, Travis. Make sure you let me know you're here. Guys, y'all shoot me, let me know. I don't see him in there.
I seen him on there. He said
give him
woo
a
or
few
something.
minutes. Oh, yeah. At Travis. Everything's flying by. Congrats, Travis, from my buddy Jeremy. I want to give a big shout out to my buddy Jeremy. He helps actually star. He, I get sidetracked so easily that it's hard for me to keep up. So, all right. So we did see Travis in here. We did see him say woohoo. Or
yeah, he just commented again just now. Says thanks, I'm here.
Oh, yep. I see you, brother. Hey, shoot me an email. I'll get you to verify everything because sometimes there's some, a-holes that try to fake account you.
That's crazy.
So we'll verify everything. And bassgeek.bite me is my email address. It's also in the description. Again, Adam, man, thank you for coming by.
No, I appreciate
be sure to keep in touch with me.
Okay.
Whatever you decide to fish, keep me in the loop, and we'll kind of do a season update thing maybe next year.
Man. That'd be great.
That'll be real fun. Yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate everybody. Thank you guys for joining in. Now go show Tackle Junkie some love. Tell Jim I'm sorry. And hopefully this is the last time I'll do it to him. I don't know. We might just do it to him on purpose one night.
Yeah.
Just wait 30 minutes and all of us nobody jump into Jim's live stream just to get after him. Yeah. I mean, his wife is the one that sets up the live stream anyway. So, and he still hasn't eaten biscuits and gravy, guys. Good Lord. He's a northerner. He's a northerner. He can't help it. All right, Adam, man, I appreciate you. We're going to sign off, brother. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate it.
All right. You're very welcome.
Yep.